Hi, it's Fletcher. Tony the Whipping Boy is behind the camera. We're backstage with Josh of 21 Pilots. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
It's good. How's it going for you so far?
It's good. It's this is show number 3 of our tour, and usually it's probably 4 or 5 shows after this that we kind of start to get into like a good groove.
But the groove will be fine tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I think before this tour, we probably had like the most preparation that we've ever had for a tour, which is really good. So the first 2 shows have felt good.
What's that feel like? I mean, watching the evolution of your band over the past just 5 years since we've known about you, going from clubs to a very, very sold out Enterprise Center, and this entire tour is very, very sold out. What's the preparation like from back then, you probably lugging around your own kit and things like that, to having a substantial crew tonight, right?
Yeah, I would say in some ways it's changed a lot, and in some ways it's kind of stayed the same. I think that the big area where it's changed is probably 8 months ago, maybe more. We had our first kind of production meeting where we kind of just talked about what this show would look like and details of it, and you know what was going to be on stage, what wouldn't be on stage, changes in lights or different things that like move around, and that's something that we haven't really thought that far out as far as like a show production. But I think the things that have changed is that Tyler and I are still very much in charge of kind of steering the ship and then really putting the show together. But yeah, there's a lot more people involved now. The crew has grown significantly, and they're working really hard to set everything up and get it all working by the time we need to go and sound check or open doors. So it's crazy to see that because in clubs and stuff, like Tyler and I would carry his piano down steps or carry my drums down there and build them. And now there's just all these guys just setting this stuff up.
Can you talk about like visually, there's so much with your band. And on this record, visually, there's so much with the videos. How much of that, what's the process taking that and what we've seen so far and putting it on a stage, which we haven't seen yet tonight?
Yeah, I think that was kind of part of the initial production meeting that we had, and then follow-up production meetings that we've had, where it's just, hey, how do we because there is kind of a story that's been happening for a long time, and how do you bring that to life? I do think the first time I met Tyler, like when we became friends, he was like, check out this song that I'm working on, and like in this part, this will happen live. I envision this, and then I think we bonded over that, kind of just like really envisioning, like even in this creative process, envisioning it live and kind of creating it for that space. So I think during those times of trying to figure out, even in songwriting, or the creation of the album, there's thought of how it's going to look live, and I think that it goes all the way back to that, and different color schemes of lighting, or even different ways of lighting. Is it backlit? Where's the moment where the spotlight hits? What is the content on the screens, and do you want that to be the focal point here? Or do you want this other thing to be a focal point? And now you have cameras that are on what's called iMag, which is the big projector of like what's happening on stage, and it's just like, show Tyler doing this at this point, or show the crowd at this point. And so it's all very kind of dialed in and detailed, so that everything kind of is cohesive with each other.
The album was the concept of Dima. How far back does that go? You have Blurry Face and everything around it with the characters. Was Dima already a thought? Was it already a plan? Like, how did that work, and at what point did the songwriting kind of come to fruition with the idea?
That's a good question. It goes back pretty far. And I think that, we've had conversations for a really long time, and kind of what does the future look like, and how can this story be told? And there was really, it's hard to predict the future. So, and it's, I don't know, I sometimes I look at writers of TV shows or whatever, and you know, sometimes there's a whole story completely ready to be told, and sometimes it happens episode by episode or season by season. And I would say this one is kind of a thought out thing that's been a while. I don't even know exactly.
It's a lot. It's a lot. As a fan, it's a lot to dig into. You have to give your fans so much credit, though. I love when you broke your silence, right? I loved all the theories were immediately out there. Did you love watching that? As somebody who created this art, and these fans are so like, I've got to figure out. I've decoded everything. And for the most part, did they figure it out?
It's a great question. That's the other thing that you don't know in the future, kind of when coming up with stuff, is like, how much are people going to dive in? And
I would be so terrified that like I would have so many people that didn't get it, or be like, oh man, they're not connecting it.
Yeah, which, you know, if that was the case, I think it would be I don't know. I guess some of that would be for ourselves, but I also think that in them kind of diving in the way that they do and being really smart, it kind of gives more freedom to even come up with other ideas along with it, and make the rabbit hole even deeper, as you know, if we want. So yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised. It was a very quick kind of discovery for people to kind of land on some of these things right away, and some of it too. I think even if it's not spot on, I think the idea of creating your own meaning to something, to art, is really powerful and really special. But a lot of people, interpretation, exactly. But I think a lot of people pretty much picked up what it, you know, was meant to be.
I think it's all been brilliant, and I think on a kind of a mainstream level, even though you guys have become you're the most popular band in the world right now, on a mainstream level, I think that you don't get enough credit sometimes. So I think that you should hear that. Hopefully you're hearing it every night, because it's really genius what you've done over the last couple of records. And I keep thinking, there has to be some sort of screenplay or adaptation. Like, does this become a series to follow Game of Thrones? Does this become a Broadway musical one day? Does this become a major motion picture? Like, I feel like the story is there.
Sometimes Tyler will call me with like a new idea or a new version of kind of narrative, and I'm just like, dude, what? Like, even I'll even, you know, sometimes it actually will take me a second to kind of like catch up and be like, okay, I'll wrap my mind around that. But initially, like, I'll have those same thoughts. I'm like, whoa, that sounds like something you would see on HBO or whatever. So there's nothing in
the works right now.
No,
all right.
I mean, it would be fun. It would be cool to, it would be cool to kind of like branch out and do something like that. But there's nothing right now.
Well, you're busy enough. I feel like with this tour, it's massive tonight. Enterprise Center. We're so excited, Josh. Thank you so much for the time, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.